Imagine this. A woman vanishes without a trace. Her car sits quietly in the driveway. Her phone is dead. Her family calls again and again, begging her to pick up. But the house remains silent. And then her husband steps into the spotlight. He looks distraught, his voice trembling as he tells police, "I don't know where she is. I just want her home." But here's the twist. Behind that desperate act lies a chilling truth. This man, Joseph Edward Traeger, wasn't just a grieving husband. He was a master manipulator, a man so cunning he convinced even Janine's own family to doubt their instincts. He spun lies with the skill of a seasoned lawyer, so persuasive that for days people actually believed him. Yet the walls of deception were already closing in. Because while Joseph thought he was outsmarting everyone, detectives were secretly recording his every word, and what he revealed would chill them to the bone. It all began on December 1st, 2018, in Sunrise, Florida. Joseph Traeger picked up the phone and dialed 911, not in panic, not in fear, but with a calculated calmness. He claimed he wanted to file a missing persons report for his wife, 50-year-old Janine Catanzaro. But here's what didn't add up. She had been missing for 3 whole days before Joseph even bothered to call. By then, her mother had already been frantically leaving voicemails. "Where are you? Are you okay? Call us back." Her phone? Switched off. Her car? Still sitting in the driveway. And her husband? Out gambling, spending her money. What looked like a tragic disappearance was unraveling into something darker. And Joseph, the man who should have been the first to sound the alarm, was already the prime suspect. When detectives first sat down with Joseph, he didn't look like a killer. He looked ordinary, calm, almost too calm. He leaned back, answered questions politely, and painted himself as a husband worried sick about his missing wife. But detectives knew better, because sometimes the most dangerous men are the ones who appear harmless. When asked when he last saw Janine, Joseph claimed it was that Thursday morning. He said she was in her pajamas, rushing around the house, frantic about something, but refusing to explain. He insisted everything seemed normal. But his answers didn't sit right. For one, Joseph had just started a brand new job that very same morning, a convenient alibi. He rattled off the company name, the address, the hours. He wanted it on record that he wasn't home when Janine vanished. Detectives pushed further, asking about his relationship with Janine. That's when Joseph cracked open the door to their private life, though not in the way they expected. He admitted he was battling a heroin addiction. He confessed he wasn't always welcome in the house. He described himself as living out of his car, sneaking in only to shower, change clothes, or, if he had enough cash, sleep under his wife's roof. Janine, he claimed, had laid down the law. If you've got money for heroin, you've got money to pay bills. No money, no staying. It sounded like a marriage built on ultimatums, on bitterness and mistrust. But Joseph downplayed it, saying they didn't truly fight, that he never wanted to hurt her, that she was the love of his life. Then, his story took a darker turn. He told detectives Janine had a drinking problem. He said just 2 glasses of wine turned her into someone else, a cruel, vicious version of herself who hurled insults and cut him down with words. But was this truth? Or Joseph carefully rewriting Janine's character to make her seem unstable? Because in that small room, every sentence, every pause, every word was being recorded. And Joseph didn't realize that his own voice was slowly betraying him. When pressed about why he waited 4 days before contacting the police, Joseph fumbled. He insisted he thought Janine was fine, that she was probably just with friends, that he expected everything would be okay. But detectives heard the subtext. They weren't listening to a husband desperate to find his wife. They were listening to a man buying time. And as his story twisted and turned, one thing became clear. Joseph wasn't just lying to the police, he was lying to himself. If Joseph wanted sympathy, he wouldn't get it from Janine's family. Her mother, Joanne, told detectives her daughter had been furious with Joseph. He had racked up nearly $50,000 in credit card debt, money she could never pay back. Joanne had even tried helping her daughter find pro bono lawyers to file for bankruptcy and divorce. Joanne feared her daughter's life was in danger. And then she dropped a bombshell. Joseph had a criminal past. He had been convicted years earlier of violent assault. Detectives suddenly realized the man sitting across from them wasn't just a grieving husband with a drug problem. He was a man with a history of violence, a manipulator known by some as a backstreet lawyer for his ability to twist words to his advantage. And Joseph's manipulations didn't stop with Janine's mother. Her closest friend, John, told detectives that Janine had hated Joseph, that she wanted him gone. But Joseph had a way of worming himself back into her life. He would cry, beg, leave voicemails filled with lies, even claiming he was dying of cancer, just to win her sympathy. Little by little, the picture became clear. Joseph wasn't a loving husband. He was a predator, desperate, controlling, and dangerous. To understand who Joseph really was, detectives reached out to his ex-wife. Her testimony was damning. She described years of gambling, verbal abuse, and threats. She recalled the night he tried to take her life, telling her, "You ruined my life. You're not leaving here alive. I'll kill you, wrap you in trash bags, and dump you where no one will ever find you." Her words painted a terrifying portrait. Joseph wasn't just capable of violence, he had a history of it. And now Janine was missing. Detectives decided to push Joseph further with a polygraph. "Did you hurt Janine?" they asked. "No." "Did you cause her disappearance?" "No." The machine said otherwise. Joseph failed. Badly. When confronted, he tried to argue. He nitpicked the questions, claiming they were unfair. He even admitted, with unsettling calm, that while he never hurt Janine physically, he might have hurt her emotionally. Detectives saw through it. His words were cracks in his mask, cracks that were widening. Finally, under mounting pressure, Joseph broke, but not completely. His confession came with twists, lies, and half-truths, each more disturbing than the last. He first claimed he came downstairs to find Janine already dead, her head cracked open after a seizure. Panicked, he said, he placed her body in garbage bags, stuffed them in a trash can, and rolled it to the curb for pickup. Detectives didn't believe him. They pushed harder. That's when Joseph revealed the truth. He admitted that Janine had threatened to call the police after an argument. In a panic, he grabbed for the phone. They struggled, fell to the floor, and then Joseph grabbed a knife. He stabbed her in the back of the head. He described the moment with horrifying detachment, saying, "The knife slid in like warm butter." He claimed he couldn't believe how easy it was, and then he said something even more chilling. "At least she didn't suffer. That gives me some comfort." With his confession, the nightmare was confirmed. Joseph had killed Janine, covered it up, and then played the part of a grieving husband for the cameras, appearing on local news, pleading for her safe return, even as he knew she would never come home. Investigators searched desperately for Janine's body, combing through landfills and garbage sites. They found fragments of incinerated bone, but nothing conclusive. Her remains were never recovered. But even without a body, the evidence was overwhelming. In March 2024, Joseph Traeger was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Today, he sits behind bars in Florida, where he will spend the rest of his life. Janine's family never got the chance to say a final goodbye. Her body was never found. But justice, at least, was served. At first glance, Joseph Traeger seemed like a man begging for help to find his wife. But behind the tears, behind the carefully rehearsed words, was a predator hiding in plain sight. He gambled away her money. He lied to her friends. He fooled her family. And in the end, he silenced the one person who dared to cut him out of her life. The tragedy of Janine Catanzaro is not just that she was murdered. It's that her killer spent days pretending to love her, while the truth was buried under lies. And the most haunting part? Janine is still out there somewhere, waiting to be found.